It's with a heavy heart that Orlando Osmanu is setting to work. He's cutting down cocoa trees in one part of his plantation.
They have pods that never ripened properly because of the virus. This is no good for harvesting. We can't process it. It's spoiled.
Swollen shoot virus is the name of the disease that's affecting his trees, but it's not his only problem.
All this is part of my farm. I planted plantain, cocoa, and other crops here, just like elsewhere on the farm. But the timber contractors have cleared everything, and they didn't even compensate me.
Many timber companies in Ghana are involved in illegal deforestation. Charles Brefonimo from the NGO SNV is working with the farmers to at least ensure they don't further exacerbate the problem.
We are telling farmers to rehabilitate their farm, do intensifications and stuff like that so that they can really benefit from their own small tracts of land and not to move into the forest. But the other aspect of it is what we are saying about big timber companies also trying to degrade the forest and doing this cutting of logs without really replacing them.
His Dutch NGO has rented farmland on the edge of the forest. For the past 2 years, they've run a tree nursery here. Orlando Osmanu was among those who were given seedlings from the nursery. The NGO has given him tips on how to boost the growth of his trees. Damp sections of banana trunks, for example, can help to strengthen the roots. He's also learned how to treat the stumps of the diseased trees that he's chopped down.
I used herbicide to kill off the stump so that it can't regenerate. Otherwise, it could infect the new trees that I've planted. You have to use herbicide to kill the entire system. I didn't realize that before.
But it's not been easy for the NGO. At first, many farmers were skeptical about the experts from the city. But that changed as the NGO won some powerful allies. Kwasi Awuwa is a respected and successful cocoa farmer. A few years ago, he gave his plantation an overhaul, chopping down the older trees and planting new ones. Even though he's an expert when it comes to cocoa farming, he's not that fond of chocolate. He'd rather have a plate of rice to eat.
The reason why I prefer food, because when you eat it, you work about 8 to 1. Yes, you are strong. Okay. Therefore, chocolate is a 1 hour, 2 hours food.
In the capital, Accra, this company is trying to change that view. They're hoping to inspire Ghanaians with exotic creations like hibiscus chocolate.
These small machines are very helpful for us to experiment, and that's how we end up developing a lot of our flavors. It first goes through this process, and then we have people who taste our test products.
But the handmade chocolate produced here is more of a luxury product that will sell mainly in the capital or go straight to export. Two sisters set up the company about 2 years ago. Since then, they've faced many challenges, ranging from constant power outages to corrupt officials who made life difficult for the small company. But they're determined to keep on with their luxury chocolate and not just leave the field to the big multinational food companies.
It takes a lot of endurance to definitely run a chocolate business here in Ghana, and just it represents using our resources at home to actually produce a finished good here.
Back to Western Ghana and Orlando Osmanu with his family. This year, 1 kilo of dried cocoa beans will earn him the equivalent of €1.30, but only if the quality is right. As in the case of this pod.
So many of the pods in my harvest have been spoiled. The good ones, like this, are few and far between. If you look at pods like this one, you think you have a lot, but actually you haven't.
Orlando Osmanu is in a difficult position. His new trees aren't yet bearing fruit, and the more established ones are either diseased or no longer producing good cocoa pods in sufficient quantity. But his farm is at least on the road to recovery. Once harvested, the beans are left to ferment for a week under banana leaves at the plantation. Then they spend another week laid out on stands in the village to dry in the sun. The farmers pack the beans in 64-kilo sacks and sell them to companies licensed by the state. Everything is regulated centrally, including the amount of money they get for each sack.
For this year, there was no change of price because the world market price was falling. Fortunately, the government didn't reduce the producer price of cocoa. So that cocoa, the money has been kept at the same rate as at last year.
But the challenge for farmers is to keep up their supply. Company workers check the moisture content of the sacks and grade them according to the size and weight of the beans. All the sacks stored here are destined for export, which commands much higher prices. Back in Orlando Osmanu's village, there's bad news. The NGO's project, which has helped the farmers so much, is due to end. The farmers have come together for a meeting at the local church.
Welcome you to Insowa Chrome community.
They all want the development project to continue.
I take your concerns very seriously. I understand that you want the project to be extended for 1 or 2 years. I will forward this information to our donors. I hope that something can be done, but unfortunately, I can't promise you anything right now.
At least the NGO is promising to continue advising the farmers.